Hey everyone, welcome back to Stock Market Earnings Report. We got Meta, Facebook today. This is a big one for advertisers. I'm not exposed to Meta personally, just full disclaimer, but I am exposed to Trade Desk. So I'm pretty interested to see what's going on with advertisers, but I'm also really interested to see what's going to happen with the CapEx over at Meta. Are we going to see CapEx explode? Are we going to see CapEx move in any direction? So I'd like to get a little bit of insight here from Meta. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the earnings here, and we'll find out what the HE double hockey sticks is going on. And then we'll take it from there. So let's see here. We're gonna get a preview of what to expect in terms of let's see, the earnings expectations. So just give me a second here to get that up, and then we are looking for CapEx insights. Let's see what we can get today. You know, the stock's done so well since its bottom there in that 90 range when they were so focused on augmented reality. And they were so smart to pivot out of that, because when they pivoted out of that, what they did is they avoided sort of that hole that Apple's kind of gone into a little bit now. And that's this sort of hole of, oh, yeah, okay, now we have the Apple Pro Vision, and we spent a lot of money and R&D on this, but it's not exactly working the way we had hoped. So that's a little bit of what we're seeing, and obviously they went back to their roots, cost cutting, sort of the great cost cutting over Meta. They did really well, so they managed to do what investors were hoping for them to do, balance that spending. And now I'm excited to see if they're going to keep balancing that spending, or if we're going into a different, if we're going into a little more of a conservative era. So we'll see. We'll see that in just a little bit here. Okay, so we got about 2 minutes before the closing bell, and then we'll get our answers. So stay tuned. It looks like the S&P is only up about 2 basis points right now. We got about just a few moments left in the trading day here. Let's go ahead and get the closing bell.
You can, kind of get a little back and forth action. I think it's fine. The big thing to me is we didn't fully flush out optimism in this market, because earnings are good enough. Everyone said we need a 5% pullback. So you don't always need it, but sometimes you're going to get a better kind of snapback rally if, in fact, people had really liquidated and gotten out and need to buy back in a hurry. Not really the case. I think that's why you kind of settle at a higher low of pessimism or a lower optimism.
If Jamie Dimon had said, the economy looks like garbage and we're in trouble, maybe we'd have a different sentiment. He said it was unbelievable. The reason why...
I don't know. It seems like when Jamie's scared, you want to buy.
But maybe,
you're right.
Yes. Good point. But maybe you can get just a 5% pullback because the backdrop underneath it, the floor is very strong. Foundation is strong.
The underlying trend is strong.
All right, that's Mike Santoli, of course. Meta, minutes away into OT.
Press the pause button. Stocks taking a breather after a strong start to the week as rates creeped higher today. That's the scorecard on Wall Street, but the action is just getting started. Welcome to Closing Bell Overtime. I'm Morgan Brennan with John Ford.
Okay, here we go. So now what we're going to do is get Meta. So I'm excited about this. I believe they report at 5 minutes after. So we don't have earnings from them yet. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and keep Meta up on screen here, and so we'll be able to kind of watch them, and then of course as the numbers come out we'll go through the numbers. So we're looking for, let's see here, okay, let's get that timing here. Okay, yep, so earnings expectations for Meta, we'll throw those up as well, so let's go through that. Here we go. So we have implied volatility of only 7.9%. I would have expected a little bit more, so somewhat surprising it's only 7.9. I thought we would have a little bit more of a move. You're seeing that a little bit where you're getting sort of less moves on some of these stocks lately here than some of the implications are. Okay, I cannot get that to load. That's fine. Okie dokie, I will load it from here. No problem. All right, there we go. Earnings are up and ready to go. So here are the numbers you're going to be looking for. You're going to be looking for adjusted EPS. The consensus right now is about 455. That's what we're looking for, 455. Meta, yeah, it does come out at 405, as well as Ford and IBM. IBM will be out 410. Chipotle and ServiceNow, they come out at 410. So we'll take a look at those too. I want to see CMG. People just keep spending on burritos, and I am one of those people. So CMG, ServiceNow, Chipotle, Ford, IBM. I guess we could pull Ford just to see what they might be up to. And we'll cover some of these, but the big one today, again, Meta. It's also going to be an AI indicator, right? Give us a little bit of a heads up as to what we're expecting. Like Chipotle, for example, won't tell us much. ServiceNow might tell us a little bit about how are we seeing people turn artificial intelligence software into actual revenues, right? So we'll see. Then we are, you know, I've always kind of maintained that I think Tesla is the one company that can actually sort of turn AI into real software revenues. We'll see if that ends up being true. ServiceNow will give us some insights. Like, for example, Salesforce. I've been a little bit bummed about their ability to actually provide good, how should I say, AI product, like a good AI product beyond some kind of chat bot. And even that, it seems like they were struggling a little with. So I don't want to sound bearish on that company. I'm sure they'll figure it out, but really the ones who have been doing AI since before AI was a fad, those are the ones that I like to watch for AI. That, again, is your Tesla and it's your Palantir, the sort of big data aggregator plays. Those I think are pretty neat. So that's why yesterday's Tesla call was so interesting, just to see their pivot and their focus. And it makes sense that they're really excited about FSD because, quite frankly, it's so freaking hard right now to sell cars, and that's unfortunate. So anyway, we got about 2 minutes to go here, and then we will get a little bit of insight. So let's see here. Waiting. And again, Ford will come out at roughly the same time. 5 minutes later, we'll have ServiceNow and we'll have Chipotle. So we'll start with, what's it called? We'll start with Meta. All right. 1 minute to go. Just 1 minute to go. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Come on. So about 30 seconds to go here. Again, implied vol on this one is 7.9, and average is usually like a 14% move. So, and this is one that could move the entire market. It could move Nvidia. It could move the Qs. It could move Microsoft, Google. Although they have their own earnings coming up, but at least for the next day here. All right, here we go. We're at 105. Any second now, we should see some big old movement. Okay, I see it. Okay, here we go. EPS 471, that's a beat, versus 430. Revenue meets expectations. The stock's down 7%. Reality Labs revenue misses at 440 versus the estimate of 494. You've got operating losses of 385. The expectation was 451. That's actually better than expected. So what's the problem here? It looks like the guide came in light, 36.5 to 39. And so if I take the midpoint of that, I'm at 37.75, 37.75 midpoint. The expectation was 38.24. So we really just missed on guide by about 1.3%. Seeing the stock move down 9% on a 1.3% miss is a way that this market is telling you they are so freaking tenuous that you have to beat Wall Street's beats. Otherwise, you just get pummeled. Holy good lordy schmolies. That's crazy. So that's a solid 10% down as these earnings again missed by just 1.3%. That's it. This was not a giant miss. We've also got expenses for the total year coming in probably, well, it looks like about $1 billion greater than expected. So that doesn't necessarily look like the worst news for maybe your chip expenses here. But that forecast lagging a little bit just really gave them a little smack upside the head, at least in the stock market. Not horribly uncommon. You see this sort of activity. You've got 64K here on BTC. Tesla ended up about 12%. It really played getting rejected on VWAP for most of the day, and there were a lot of people. We were talking about this in the Stocks and Psych group. A lot of people were taking profits as we were dipping below this VWAP over here. If you held on until the end, you ended up down, but not too much, given that we didn't get much of an escape here from the VWAP. So we thought this was a good play right here. Given, again, this drop off the VWAP, that was a profitable opportunity. And if you held on to above, you had a limited downside on the top, obviously, depending on how much you actually bet. So on BTC, down now 63.9. You can see a little bit of a movement down, actually, after those Meta numbers. And Meta's still bobbing around that about 10% level down. I'm waiting for their actual statement so I could pull it up. I don't see that yet here. Yeah, let's see what we got. So waiting now for the actual statement or a little bit more color, but it really seems like it is just the, what is this called? The forecast. And again, it's only a 1.3% miss on the forecast. But as we've talked about before, this market is set up in such a frothy way right now that people are expecting beats on beats. And so if you're not beating the high expectations of the market, you tend to get a little bit of a sell down. So, that's just something we've noticed as part of the Qs topping, BTC topping. Alphabet looks like is going down a little bit as well. The Qs are certainly down after that. Boy, the Qs vomited after that. So did Trade Desk, unfortunately, down 2%. I am exposed to that one. And Palantir, not much. NVIDIA don't give a flying F. The reason NVIDIA is actually up is because Meta's CapEx is expected to be slightly higher by $1 billion rather than slightly lower. So, there we go. The Meta results are, the actual doc is out. Perfect. Now, we are going to get Chipotle and ServiceNow in just a moment. But let's see. CapEx, $6.72 billion. Looking at the outlook, we expect the second quarter 2024 revenue to be in the range of 36.5 to 39. Again, that missed the guide or the expectation. They expect full year expenses to be slightly higher due to infrastructure and legal costs. Okay, so that's not exactly clear as to whether that's a meaningful boost there to AI spending, or if there are just legal costs that are higher than expected. Who knows? Could also be a combination of both. But it's, one of the reasons NVIDIA seems to be at least a little happy is that that number did not come in lower. So you can see NVIDIA is giving up a little bit here. Meta's still down about 10% on this read. So now we should be getting Chipotle and ServiceNow in about 5 or 10 seconds here. Remember, all my trade alerts and ideas, we are in the Stocks and Psych group, and we have an expiring coupon code on the 30th. Okay, so ServiceNow adjusted EPS comes in at a beat. Oh, wow, okay, 341 versus 316. The subscription forecast missed, though. So you had another miss on forecast. People don't like it when you miss forecasts. Forecast is everything. It's one of the reasons Tesla ran as much as it did, is because they gave such a good forecast. ServiceNow down about 1%. Chipotle comes in with an operating margin beat. I don't know how they do it. They just always beat. Adjusted EPS, you gotta be kidding me. $13.37? That's so cool. $13.37 versus the estimate of $11.66. That's honestly a big beat. Like, you can't fight Chipotle. Just can't fight them at all. So look at that. You're up about 135 there on Chipotle earnings. Thank you. And Meta down 10.20 here. And you can see where you're missing, you're getting substantially punished. Where you're beating, you're not really getting rewarded that substantially. Now, 13.37 on Chipotle, I just have to say that's pretty elite. That's Definitely one of my favorite numbers. But that's why I always have military time on my phone. So that way, if I look down at my phone and I take a look at summer and what time it is, I have 13:37 pop up. And I can see that. I'm like, yes! Celebrate the elite numbers. So let's see here. Looks like the forecast on stores is slightly lower than expected. And maybe that's what's helping them sort of beat on some of these numbers. ServiceNow is just absolutely vomiting after that subscription miss. Again, they beat, so they had a good adjusted EPS beat. But again, missing on those subs, that's just absolutely devastating for you. As soon as you miss on those subs, you just fall right off the chart over here. Woo, boy. Oops, didn't mean to draw that. So Meta over here, what do we got? Trying to recover a little bit. Looks like it's trying to hit a floor right there. You know, I will say this earnings season, things have not been as bad as expected. So, or feared, I should say, would be the way to put it. Not necessarily expected. Feared would be the way to say it. But you are certainly getting, oh yeah, NVIDIA's been playing this line all day long. I've been watching NVIDIA here at this. And NVIDIA sort of consolidated into the end of the day. We never really left the VWAPs of the day, the VWAP on Tesla, or this particular support line, since the VWAP's up here, for NVIDIA. We instead got rejected off of it. So pretty interesting to see, us go from about 850 to that 795 line. It was basically line to line on NVIDIA. And I always like to say, trust the lines. A lot of times that works out. Sometimes it doesn't. I always like to send all my buy-sell alerts. Don't always make money. I try my best, though. The good news today is, even though I was down slightly on a trade, I didn't get smoked on it because I followed the lines, which is good. Anytime I don't follow the lines, that's when I get pooped. So, but otherwise, it seems like you get sort of some rubber band protection, I like to say. But let's go through the actual financials for Meta, and let's see what's going on here. What's the complaining going on? So we've got Meta. It's been a good start to the year, Meta said. New version of Meta AI. Llama 3 is another step towards building a world with AI. Healthy growth across our apps, and we continue to make steady progress on building the metaverse as well. That's cool. So then we've got... what is this here? We've got revenue up 27% from a year ago. That's great. Costs only up 6%. Fantastic. I mean, honestly, those numbers are really good. That's a great increase in margin right there. Net income substantially higher than expected, than the prior period. Family daily active people. Daily active people. Okay, that's what we're going with now. Okay, that's interesting. That seems like a different metric from users, but okay. I think that's because they're trying to potentially count multiple people per user. I'm not sure about that. That seems a little odd. But increased 7% year over year. Ad impressions were up 20%, and ad prices actually increased 6%. So you're getting some compression there in terms of ad pricing, given that you had so much more impressions over here. Pricing didn't increase at a similar level, but on the net, prices still did go up. Total revenue, we saw that. CapEx. Okay, I want to see if they have any commentary here on Outlook. This was Reality Labs. We continue to expect operating losses and increase meaningfully year over year due to our ongoing product development efforts. Right. You got to catch up to Apple with those headphones or headsets, although a lot of people are like, the Meta ones are better. Please don't turn into Apple. So here's the CapEx. Continue to accelerate our infrastructure roadmap. While we don't provide guidance beyond 2024, we expect CapEx to increase the next year as we invest aggressively in AI. So, I mean, that's just a great shout out to NVIDIA there. I think NVIDIA gave up most of its gains after that commentary. It did. You can see that here. They gave up most of their gains have been given up. But this is one where you did end up getting a reiteration of the benefits of AI coming, So then, let's see here. Continue to monitor the regulatory landscape. Let's keep going. We've got Q1 was a good start to the year, seeing strong momentum within our family of apps. Great. And then they've got their conference call coming up. Should have some financials over here. Again, breaking down some of these costs. R&D costs up about 700 mil. Costs of revved appear to be up 10-20%ish. No, sorry, 10% here. But again, their revenue way up, so that doesn't really matter. They make great money. I mean, you're at $4.86 a share. Although, you know, the stock has gotten a little rich. $4.86 for the quarter. I mean, that annualizes out to like $20. Let me see here. Might not actually be as expensive as it seems. Let's run it. So if I do an estimate of earnings for Meta, let's take a peek here. By the way, if you are going to be in, what's it called? If you're going to be in Spokane or Seattle, we have a House Hack Roadshow going on. You're welcome to join us. Just go to househack.com/2024 to sign up. And we have an investment deadline there of May 1st. So make sure you get your Invest Ready letter if you're accredited and interested after you read the PPM. This video is not a solicitation. All right. So let's go with, but the roadshow's free to come to if you want to come. We'll be there soon. So let's see. Expected EPS for the year, $20.85. Yeah, that's roughly what I was expecting, just sort of annualizing this quarter. And if I divide 444 divided by this figure here, I'm sitting at about selling for about 21.3 times. Okay, 21.3 times. And then I've got 21.71, 15.28, 16.24, 6.84, 60. 60 divided by 4, 15. 22.3 divided by 15. I'm trading for about a 1.5 peg on Meta. It's actually not bad. That doesn't seem very exciting. I mean, I know the stock has done very well, but boy, that actually doesn't seem that horrible for the growth that they're projecting. And the growth they're projecting isn't like crazy. It's 15%. You know, it seems relatively reasoned. So IBM reported as well. They reported Q1 rev of 14.46 versus the 14.25. However, it looks like there's some issue with the HashiCorp deal going on. HashiCorp deal, what's going on here? To pay HashiCorp with available cash on hand, confirms deal to acquire HashiCorp for $35 a share. Yeah, because their revenue beat, but it sounds like the stock's going down on this acquisition. Let me see here. If I go IBM, yeah, look at that. IBM's down about 6%. So whatever is going on with HashiCorp, people aren't very enthusiastic about. The, yeah, okay, interesting. Seeing these sort of downs here on all of them with a slight miss on guide for ServiceNow and Meta, obviously with the exception of Chipotle because that stock never goes down, probably sets you up for a little bit of pain tomorrow before you actually end up getting to the earnings for, excuse me, Microsoft, Google, and some of the others to fix the damage, so to speak. But then again, if that damage doesn't get fixed, then you're going to have a real poopsie-doops. Ford, by the way, outlook for a strong year. EBIT, $3 billion versus 2.24. Model E rev came in at only 100 mil, which is very low. 1.5 billion in credits. CapEx, expecting to spend about 8.5. The estimate was about 8.59. So this seems... oh, and then we got a beat on EPS for Ford, 49 cents versus 42. You know, Tesla had like, what was it, 45 cents of earnings in the quarter, and Ford's at like 42. Oh, that was kind of interesting. So you're basically at the same place. The question is, you know, which is going to grow more? And so what's remarkable is, you know, you kind of look at the difference of the valuations, and you can kind of see which one's expected to grow more. Tesla's like 10 times the market cap of Ford, so obviously it's expected to grow substantially more. So now you want to break under the VWAP for the day, you jerk. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, look at that. BTC selling down on this. And then you've got Meta now accelerating its decline down about 11%. Only down about 4.7 on ServiceNow, which for the miss, pretty surprising that they're only down 4, given that miss and guide. Usually you get a miss and guide, you just get whacked, just get punished, nasty punishment. Ford outlook, flat to modest U.S. industrial growth, so not really seeing a lot of, solid growth in autos. That's not a surprise, not really expecting that for Tesla either, but you are seeing shares of Ford up, if I remember correctly. Yeah, here we go, 3.6. Okay, Meta's now down a full 12. Meta projects higher spending, weaker revenue amid AI push. Yeah, and Snap and Pinterest are both falling more than 3% after that. Yeah. That's the tough thing is, how do you turn, I think we just have to sort of have a dialogue over it. How do you turn AI into revenue? And I really think only Palantir and Tesla have somewhat figured that out. And they're still growing. So when you compare that with potentially going into a challenging sort of macro environment here where things are toppy and people are getting a little nervous, wanting to sit on the sidelines, not great. GDP did come in a little lower today, but still up from a lot of what we've seen this year, 2.7. But that's also because durables somewhat missed. So somewhat of a mixed bag of information, all kind of compounded by the fact that, inflation a little higher than expected. But anyway, so let's see here. What else? Let's see. Somebody says QuantumScape just reported. Oh, did they actually do anything? Let's see here. Like, do they actually have revenue? No. They have loss per share of 24 cents. Adjusted EBIT loss of 76 million versus 68 million. Oh, okay. You're going to lose even more money. Yeah, I think these people are a fraud. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think they have a real product. And so they make me a little nervous. I've been nervous about QuantumScape since the heyday, and people got mad at me when that sucker was like $100 or whatever. But I don't know. Whatever. People get mad at me all the time. I'm over it. So this is really interesting. It's only moving down 1.4%. on basically reiterating that it can't make money. I don't know. Who knows? I know maybe they got their like fancy battery technology and their scientists and their, lab coats or whatever, still trying to cook some things up. But, Meta hitting this kind of red, almost down 13%. It's going to drag this market lower tomorrow. Look at that. ARM down 1.7. Let's see. Enphase was down about 5.56. And NVIDIA, look at that. It's just bouncing between our lines here. So keep in mind, when I say, like, when I do, trade alerts or whatever, I really try my best to just follow my lines. I'm not promising that I can make money every trade. I don't. That's the nature of every trade. The goal is just to make money, 60, 70, 80% of the time to offset when you do lose money. But I love trading these lines because they seem to work frequently, and who knows, maybe that's delusional, but I just like watching these. And so seeing NVIDIA go perfectly here from 796 to 785, especially after it was initially up about 2% on Facebook Meta earnings, it's really interesting. It might be a sign of an oversold condition, or it's just going to be the beginning of some more pain that you're going to get in this environment. Which is, you go bet on AI right now, you're going to end up getting burned. You go bet on big tech, you get burned. I do still think that Amazon and Apple are sort of left behind. Apple more so than Amazon. Amazon's had a really good run. But I like Amazon around that 180 range. I like Apple around 169. That doesn't mean they won't go down if we have a correction or crash. But I think they'll go down less than like an NVIDIA or Tesla. I think NVIDIA has a potential of revisiting the 600s. And I think that's probably where it's a little bit more fairly valued, in that 6s range. I'm not the biggest fan of calling NVIDIA $1,000 stock at this point. So, and then Tesla, I'm really curious to see the directionality that we get with Tesla. You know, I mean, you're down like 1% in after hours, so you're getting to some of the lows of what we were trading during the day. But this is a stock here that you've got a lot of enthusiasm in, that came into the day hot. So you rallied at 1.15, almost 16%. And it is interesting to see that it did spend some time bleeding today. Now, in fairness, the Qs and Bitcoin did bleed today. So I thought those were sort of leading indicators of what was going on with Tesla. All of them sort of bled down. But, you know, the Qs being down 1% here, it's quite a bit. Bitcoin moving down on it as well. Tesla's almost down a full % here. So, yeah, is SMCI down as well? Yeah. Let's see what earnings are going to be tomorrow morning. Let's see. Okay, so tomorrow morning. Really? Gonna make it hard for me? Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, so tomorrow morning we're gonna get American Airlines, Royal Caribbean, Caterpillar. I mean, that's not gonna move anything. That's boring. And then you're going to get, yeah, I mean, then it gets interesting because then you're going to get Google, Intel, Microsoft, Snap, Roku, Western Digital. That's a pretty dang big set of earnings. And so we'll be getting those tomorrow. That'll be pretty wild. So if we get another situation where we're sort of missing on those as well, I don't know, man. Sell-off's going to get worse. It's going to take everything with it. So this is why I'm a little on a long-term trade point of view. I'm a little cash heavy, and you know, obviously I sold Tesla between 171, 175 ish, sort of in that range there, and I've been really tempted to buy back once I hit my 30 days, but the lack of clarity on some things has left me a little what direction are we going to be going with the market here in the next 2 months or so? Are we going to go to extreme fear? Because now you have to think about it. Think about the catalysts that you have now for Tesla. This is just something else that I keep in the back of my mind. Maybe you start a rally, but I think you only start a rally if the entire market is moving up. If the market moves down because of Meta, or say Microsoft or Google, then you have a market downtrend. Great. So what are the positive catalysts for Tesla between now and next earnings in 3 months? Well, you have the fear that what happens if Elon doesn't get his comp plan? You know, what actually are the new car plans or deliveries going to be like for Q2? How badly are those going to miss? So it's not like they're these like really big, exciting catalysts. And usually events like August 8th or buy the rumor, sell the news for Tesla. So, you know, I'm not like jumping up and down going, oh yeah, I need to blow all my cash and buy every little dip that's happening in the market right now. That's not my mindset right now, and it's certainly not how I'm doing my long-term investing. And then of course I take like a tiny little sliver of my account and I play with that to go, you know, less than 1%, to go do little trades. But I find that also really entertaining because I love playing the lines and I enjoy it. And so it's also great. You learn a lot about yourself. That's why I like trading. You learn a lot about, okay, like, you know, the emotional thing here is cut and run. How, you know, what are the other logical strategies? Do you double down? Do you move to a different position? Do you go from short to long or vice versa? It's pretty fun. So, and then controlling that emotion is really entertaining. So I like doing that, and then I send little ideas or lessons if I'm making oopsies or whatever in the Stocks Insight group. So that's always fun. So check that out, link down below, and we've got a coupon expiring for that on the 30th. So, and again, I just want to be crystal clear. Like, I'm not going to promise you follow every trade, you're going to make money. You know, like, I can't trade for you, and I wouldn't trade for you anyway because, you know, I don't want to make a mistake and then be responsible for you. But the goal is to make money, obviously. So, Qs, interesting. You had a bounce there for a moment on the Qs, and then you sort of gave that up. You got a 70 bip decline on Tesla, and then you're recovering a bit on the on the Bitcoin trade here. So Amazon. Let's see what do we have here. Yeah, Amazon moving down on this too is really interesting. Why would Amazon be moving down? Because of ads, I guess. Yeah, it must be just because you've got Trade Desk. I think that's moving down a couple percent as well. IBM's down like 7%. Yeah, and I know a lot of people. I see the comments. You know, people are like, "Oh, Kevin, you know, too high in cash, too high in cash." Every time people complain about how, you know, my cash allocation, I get more nervous that my cash allocation isn't large enough. Like, when everybody else is going to cash, that's when I'll buy. When everybody makes fun of me for being in cash, I think I'm probably cool just chilling out for a little bit longer. And again, contrarians are contrarian because sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. So I promise I do not profess to be right all the time. But I do like analyzing what we've got going on. So, and I feel this in the market where it's like, yeah, we had these beats last week. Think about all the beats we had. Actually, earlier this week. Let me write this down. Where are the beats we had? Let's see. I wrote those down. Oh, yeah. So this was just yesterday. It's on eHack. We had a beat at Pepsi, UPS, Fiserv, GM, Spotify. All these guys beat yesterday. And what did the Qs do, you know, over the last few days? So let's go to the average or non-average candlesticks here. Well, we got 34 bips on the Qs today. That was today. And then yesterday we did have a 1.4%. So we are kind of bouncing a little bit. We're getting a little bit of a return on some of those beats. But is it enough to really start a rally going? I don't know. See, like I guess that's the way I'm looking at investing. People ask me, Kevin, you know, when are you gonna invest again? I go, I want to invest when like I feel like we're ready to like tear, right? Doesn't everybody? You know, and that could be next stop could be 501 for the Qs, but I don't know that we're beating at such levels, and certainly not today with Meta or IBM or ServiceNow. We're not getting the beats that we would need to be able to justify that. And then the next catalyst after we get these earnings is JPOW. Well, I don't think JPOW is going to be the nicest to us anytime soon. There's a lot of talk that we might be going to 5% rates again. I don't know if that's just like people who are, you know, making bets that rates are going to 5%, trying to pump that. I don't have any bets on treasuries. But it's possible. And then you could reinvert. You could literally see the 2s stay stable, go to 5% on the 10, and then you'd be sitting at a positive yield curve by about 7 basis points, which isn't even really that far uninverted. So, but usually the process of getting there is quite painful. That could still be ahead of us. The inversion right now is at about, ooh, are we at 29? No way. We've been in the 30s for a while. I think we're at 29 now. I'll pull that up. Oh, whoa. Oh, that's the 230. Oops. Okay. The 230 is only 15 basis points inverted, but I was going to go 210. Whoopsies. Yep. 28.7 on the inversion. What about inflation expectations then? 5-year break. Aw, bummer. Team Gavin Newsom texted me. We're extending a personal invite to join Gavin Newsom for a virtual event tomorrow. I replied to them and I said, can I come in person? Will they make a special exception for me to come in person? They're just going to block me again. I love it when I get the political texts and then I ask them things they don't like. They just instantly block me. It's great. Okay. Let's see, Tom Lee must be pissed. Well, so I don't think it's possible for Tom Lee to get pissed. Tom Lee, I don't, like, Every dip is, this is great, it's a buying opportunity. Every rally is, this is great, it's a buying opportunity. And I'm like, all right, if I pull the string, what is he going to say this time? Okay, I don't want to oversimplify that way. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe that's mean. I'm sorry. Just the thought. Oh, man. Anyway, so, wow, look at that. Amazon down 2%. See, I wouldn't mind being able to pick up more Amazon cheaply, because I could lower my basis in that sucker then. Because I do really like that Amazon has finally gone profitable at retail. I don't think most investors or institutions are paying attention to that. Everybody's so focused on AI, but I'm looking at that core business going profitable again. That's so exciting. So 63.9 on BTC, 51 cents down, or 51 bips down on Tesla. Yeah, 12.8 here on Meta. Let me see if there was any other news on these. Sometimes there's more news that comes out. We won't go much longer here, but QuantumScape, forget that. That's a scam. That's my opinion. Don't sue me, bro. I can't say that with a fact. Meta projects higher spending, weak revenue in AI push. Yeah. Well, remember, you give even like your advertisers AI tools like, you know, Midjourney or image generation or chat generation or whatever. Like, how are you going to profit off that? It's very difficult to charge for that. You could try to pull the OpenAI model and do, you know, $20 a month for GPT-4, which I think is worth it, actually. I'm a big fan of GPT-4. But there's a limit to what you can do with it. And that, like, I can't have that sucker writing emails or messages for me because it sounds so much like AI. And even if I try to tell it to sound like me, it still sounds like a robot. So we got a little bit of work to do on that one. Not to say Midjourney isn't cool. I mean, like, if I need pictures of the Federal Reserve on fire, those are the best. Here, let's do one really quick. So maybe you're not familiar with Midjourney. See, maybe I need to do like a video on like top AI tool. I don't know if anybody would watch it. I'm not like an AI channel YouTuber or whatever. But let's do one here. Kevin's Midjourney. Let's do a furious Jerome Powell standing outside of the Federal Reserve. Close-up shot, hyper realistic, with flames coming out of the Federal Reserve, a comet coming crashing down, and all hell breaking loose with, let's see here, melting gold bars strewn everywhere, and burning paper money in the air. That might be like the stupidest prompt ever, but sometimes I find if I just do like stupid prompts, they actually end up really good. Like when I try to use like a prompt tool, they don't end up that good. I still have some work to do on JPOW here, but I'll show this one. It's kind of cool. It's like a comet going into the Federal Reserve. Oh, it's kind of cool. It's not realistic enough for me. I'll pull it up one sec. But you know, it's not bad. It's kind of cool. You know, I got a money. I got the comet. I got what looks like melting gold. But he looks, you know, like AI. So I don't know. Let's try again. Maybe that was too much. Hyper realistic Jerome Powell furious in front of the Federal Reserve on fire during a market crash. You know, maybe it was just too ludicrous, all the stuff that I was saying. But whatever. So, okay, I mean, the market's mostly stable at the moment. So is BTC. And let's pull Meta here one more time, and then we'll look to see if there was any final news. Yeah, they're still doing it. It's too unrealistic. There's some work to do on that. Oh well. Meta down 12.6. We'll see if the earnings call can save it. We'll go through the earnings call. I'll do that when I'm on my flight. But here's what we got for a furious Jerome Powell. You know, I mean, it's kind of like a 1980s kind of cartoon, right? And I know you could do beautiful, like really realistic ones with the right prompts and stuff, and that's fine. So there's some really cool tools for that. But yeah, that's just an example of slapping some stuff together now. Okay. Okay, so then let's see if there's anything else. So Chipotle, we saw the jump. People keep spending. And again, I am one of those people. I keep buying Chipotle, even though I keep complaining the stock keeps going up. It's frankly like cognitive dissonance. It's like, yes, I love Chipotle. Will you buy the stock? I hate the stock. No, the stock's fine. It's done very well, but I don't own it. ServiceNow, the forecast on subscription. See, I really think that turning AI into service revenue is virtually impossible for some of these companies. So you've got some time to go. Pro unit software services at Ford to grow 20%. Nobody cares, dude. You know, growing from $1 to $1.20 like total of revenue in your service business. Nobody cares, man. But they did beat, and they are talking the growth story. So you are seeing Ford up. IBM not happy on that deal. And then the last one, it was really just Meta. But there's higher spending, raising investor concerns. Yeah, but you'd think that'd be good for NVIDIA, but NVIDIA gave up on that idea. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at almost a double bounce down there. NVIDIA's really not liking that, so yeah. Anyway, okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, what else? Yeah, I think that about does it. I gotta go make another house hack update video. If you haven't yet signed up for the RSVP, I gotta get dressed and I gotta get to the airport. We got a lot of work to do. But we're gonna do, I think it's Spokane and Seattle today. But just go to househack.com/2024. You could RSVP. Come meet me there. Especially if you're an accredited investor, come prepared with questions. Watch the video ahead of time so we can get it right into questions. Yesterday we did a couple locations. Shout out to SAC. That was great meeting folks there. San Jose was there were a lot of people there. A lot of accredited investors were like, whoa, this is a lot of people. I have a picture, which is kind of cool. So let me see if I could get that picture here. They actually let us on the tarmac, which was also really cool. Most places won't let us do this, so don't expect this. And in fairness, it was also somewhat cold, so shout out to the people in San Jose who were accepting of the frigid. But here's a snapshot. This is a lower qual picture right here, but here's just a quick snapshot of our group in San Jose. They had some really good ideas too. I'm probably gonna change it. I'm gonna make a house hack video before I leave. So if you want to see another house hack update video, I've got a really cool update coming. So buckle up for that. I'll post that. I don't know what else. Again, if you want my crazy buy sell alerts, some people just want to inverse trade me and they get the buy sell alerts to inverse trade me. That's fine too. You know, I like. The days I'm down, people clown me. The days I'm up, people give me the fire emoji. Like, fair, you know? Fair game. I just hope I get more fire emojis than I get clowns. So, but it's really fun. So, see you there on the courses. See you there at House Hack if you're an investor. And we'll watch what goes on with that Meta earnings call. Maybe I'll make a video on it on the flight back or between events or something tonight, but I'll be reading that earnings call. I think that'll be really interesting. I want to see why are their numbers missing on forecast? What's going on over there? So, okay, I got to go get some stuff done. Thank y'all, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.